This is the Padua Podcast Network.
And is the last surviving person to have been a subject of Queen Victoria. Running a Fever episode 165, Living to 100, Violet Brown. Welcome to the show. My name is Michael Davis. I am loving life, living long. This podcast is about fitness, diet, and medicine, and the goal is not only to add years to my life, but to add life to my years and live a long, healthy, happy, active life right up to the very end. That's what we're about, so welcome. And hopefully, the very end for me comes somewhere in the neighborhood of where Violet Brown got to. 117 years, 189 days. It's a beautiful day here in Lake Fayetteville in the spring, middle of May. I'm smelling honeysuckle and feeling the breeze. Pretty windy here at times on this sunny day. Somewhere in the mid 80s today. Very few clouds in the blue sky. Been taking quite a few pictures today. It's a lovely day. There's lots of water coming over the spillway. I don't think there's not much danger of a drought this year. We had plenty of rain. So I'm just happy that I can be out here. You know, I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate to be active enough and able enough to be out here. I noticed that, you know, when the heavier you are, the harder it is. You know, they say it gets easier, and that's literally true. If you're losing weight, it gets easier to exercise. Carrying around more weight, it's a little bit harder to breathe. So, one of the benefits, of course, I'm burning more calories because I'm heavier. The heavier you are, the more calories you burn. But that's weight. That's weight. Muscle weighs more than fat. So we've been talking about the longest lived people ever. And I've been going through this list of the oldest documented people, I should say. And Violet Brown comes in at number 6 on that list. She lived from March 10th, 1900 to September 15th, 2017. 117 years, 189 days. And number 6 on the list, and she was the oldest living person for 5 months during 2017. It's 2 years ago. 2 years ago today, she was actually the oldest living person. She is the only Jamaican on the list and is the last surviving person to have been a subject of Queen Victoria. You know, Jamaica was a British colony, and she was part of the British Empire during the reign of Victoria. She was born when Queen Victoria was in power. And Jamaica was part of the British Empire. She was born in a town called Duanevale, or Duanvale. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but it's in the northwest of the island of Jamaica. She was married. She had 6 children, and her first child lived to be 97 and is believed to have been the oldest person with a living parent. Her surviving children founded the Violet Mosse Foundation. That was her maiden name. For some reason, they chose to use that. It's a nonprofit support organization for contributing to the well-being of elderly persons. As a young girl, Violet worked as a butler, but she spent most of her life as a farmer. So she was probably very physically active, especially in that time, in the 20th century. I'm guessing that there was mechanization of farm work, but there was probably plenty of physical labor as well. She also was an organist in her church, one of the activities she really enjoyed, and all her life kind of dreamed of having her own home and having her own organ. And at the end of her life, she did. She lived in her own house, and she had her own little keyboard that she could play on. So let's talk about, during this series, the things that we're concerned about is we want to look at, obviously these people lived a long life. We want to find out, what their habits were, what their lives were like, what their lifestyle was. And this sort of gives some names and individuality to the kind of statistical study, or in contrast to the kind of statistical information that we got from the Blue Zones books. Jamaica was not one of those Blue Zone areas, but Violet Brown is an individual who lived an unusually long life, obviously. So we're looking at the quality of life because we want to be healthy, happy, and active right up to the end. And we're also kind of looking at, since these are individuals and very small segment of the population, we want to make sure that these things we're looking at are actually relevant to us. So looking closer at that. The quality of life that Violet Brown enjoyed. Well, she died in a hospital. She had been admitted due to dehydration and an irregular heartbeat. An article in the Jamaican Observer in 2017 said she was healthier than her 5 remaining children and had no ailments. There was another article in 2007 when she was 107 that showed her playing a keyboard. So she was playing her organ well into her hundreds. She was, at that time, cooking and cleaning house for herself at 107. And every Sunday, she played her organ and did her devotion and Bible reading. And she was baptized a Baptist and actually attended a Methodist church for a long time. That's where she met her husband. And played organ there in the church. So we see some of the things that, we've talked about. Staying mentally active is important. Staying active physically and mentally. And doing a variety of things. And this is one of the things that my doctor told me when I had my physical. That do unusual things that sort of create new pathways in your brain. So if you work as an engineer, write poetry, take piano lessons, do things that are working areas of your brain that are not, that are new, doing things that are new and different. So she did farm labor, she did music, and of course she had a number of children, and cooking and cleaning for herself. As far as diet goes, the only thing that I found is that she said she ate everything except pork and chicken. So that's pretty broad, everything. So she added pork and chicken. But of course, she, as are all people who lived at this age, she was asked her secret to longevity. She said, there's no secret formula, but she didn't drink, and that's a Baptist characteristic, not a Methodist one. But she also credited her unwavering faith in God. So those are some of the things. Now, what are we learning? Well, faith, as we know, has been shown to be one of those characteristics that helps you live longer, because it helps you to relieve stress, which is a vicious killer. She was active mentally by doing different things, and she was active physically as a farmer for many years. Those are the takeaways, I think. I don't see anything in here that you might think is unusual in terms of leading to a longer life. So that's Violet Brown, the Jamaican sensation. Hope you enjoyed this episode about Violet Brown, and there's more to come. So if you got the fever, keep it. If you don't have it, go catch it. I'll talk to you next time on Running a Fever.